about pop superstars, there are many, aren't there? We've said this on the show before. We recently celebrated the wonderful music of the late and brilliant Buddy Holly. We talk about Elvis, the remaining people of the Beatles. Everybody's made an impact with the power of music. It doesn't matter what generation you are. We often talk about our generation, don't we? The ones that we remember growing up. But people have been doing this for decades, the jazz age in the 1920s, the crooners and the band singers of the 1930s and early 40s. I mentioned Benny Goodman the other day, and I got some lovely reaction from that. But I do like that sound. Everybody remembers Glenn Miller, but there were other people, weren't there? Oscar Jameson, Harry James, people like that. I was lucky enough to meet many times the son of Nelson Riddle, and when you think about him, look what he did for Frank Sinatra with those beautiful arrangements and strings. People really love music, and of course, even when those people pass on, their true music lives on. But it's nice to know, isn't it, that their music lives on and sometimes can be recognized. They've recently released the Rock and Roll List Hall of Fame of the people that they're planning to put forward to for this year, which includes, such diverse people as Missy Elliott, Willie Nelson, Kate Bush, and the late and brilliant George Michael. I've told you before, I was lucky enough to meet George Michael. He was a wonderful guy, very shy, very down to earth, but liked making music, wasn't necessarily cut out for the limelight. I think he enjoyed the process of recording, writing beautiful songs that have lasted so many years, but I don't think he liked the other side, the intrusion of the fame side. And, he had a lot of problems in his life, as we know, which was detailed, but also, as many songwriters find, they can also fuel the inspiration for very successful compositions, can't they? When you look at someone like Kate Bush, many people think she's a recluse. She's not really a recluse at all. She just doesn't want the limelight. But we saw her popping back up to fame once again because of her song Running Up That Hill was included in the TV show Stranger Things. So you see, people rediscover music many decades on. It's fascinating, as I say, with George Michael, because he wouldn't have necessarily liked all these awards and all of this sort of showering of lavish praise, because, as he said, once he put a record out, he'd moved on. It wasn't necessarily for him. He liked the fact that people enjoyed it, but then there was a moment and a time, and because of the process took so long for him, he didn't necessarily think of it in the same light, possibly, as his many fans. I wanted to share this with you because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a great thing to be inducted to, isn't it? I mean, there you are being celebrated, whether you like it or not. In George's case, it's nice that people recognize your work. And I thought today, I just wanted to ask, if you could pick someone, who would you, that's not been inducted so far, induct into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? There's so many people, isn't there, when you look back, and people always like certain individuals, and perhaps it's not always the groundbreaking ones, the most famous ones that should be, because, we all have our personal favorites. I don't know about you, but over here we have a wonderful singer called Helen Shapiro, had big hits at the early part of the 60s, and then, of course, the rise of the Beatles made her career sort of peter out, but she went on for years as a recognized jazz singer. Wonderful lady. Again, I look at other people like the Irish singing star Dana. Not saying she should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they should be recognized. They left a lot of music and that people still enjoy to this day. So while we find out exactly who's going to get into that final ballot, do share with me exactly who you'd like to see nominated, and who are the stars, by the way, that you think have been completely forgotten but simply shouldn't have been. As ever, I'll look forward to your comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.